Soil moisture sensors can collect information about moisture in the soil and about soil temperature. You can use this data to make better water management decisions. In this video, we'll start to automate those watering decisions. Before we get started, you'll want your soil moisture sensor to be installed in an area that represents the other irrigation zones. It's also a great idea to first use the sensor to collect data and then take this automation step second. There's a link to the data collection video in the comments below. Log into your App Manager account with your secure username and password. Open Base Manager and then go to the Devices tab. If you haven't already assigned your moisture sensor, select the Assign Sensors menu to search for and find sensors that are attached to your system. I'll use Soil Moisture Sensor 2, so I'll click Edit, then name the sensor to help identify its location. Today I'll name this Moisture Sensor 2 in Zone 17 turf. Be sure to save before you leave Devices. Now open the program that holds the zone with the installed soil moisture sensor. If you don't already have an existing program with the sensor, create one now. Open the program, then select Edit to make changes. My Zone 17 has a sensor, so I'll change the current time mode on Zone 17 to primary mode. With primary enabled, I can assign a soil moisture sensor to the zone. A primary zone influences other zones that are linked to it. When a primary zone is set to run for 20 minutes, all the zones linked to it will also run for 20 minutes. The tracking ratio allows you to percentage up or percentage down individual linked zones to account for microclimates. The next step is to change the remaining zones from timed to linked 17. This now links the other zones to whatever Zone 17, the primary zone, does. Since I have Soil Moisture Sensor 2 influencing Zone 17 is a primary zone, and the other zones are linked to 17, all the zones in this program are influenced by a single soil moisture sensor. Next, I'll move to the strategy field and set it to lower limit. A lower limit watering strategy allows watering only when the soil is dried down to the predetermined moisture content and when the start condition has been met. Lower limit watering helps conserve water and encourages deeper root growth by stretching out watering days when the plant material doesn't need additional water. Right now, the default start below limit is 26.1% and the current moisture is 21.3%. That's dry enough to run. All that's left is to meet the 1 a.m. Tuesday time criteria and the program can run. This default start below limit of 26.1% doesn't necessarily reflect the limit that you need to use, so let's figure out how to set that limit. Calibrate single or calibrate monthly allow the controller to run irrigation until it reaches the soil saturation point while it looks for water holding capacity. Field capacity, how much water your soil type can hold before gravity drains it away. Anything more just drains out the bottom or it's runoff. All of it's wasted. If you can't allow saturation for a zone, the calibration method may not be for you. Another method involves sensor data. If you've collected moisture data for a month or so, like we highlighted in the other video, reviewing the soil moisture sensor graphs can be helpful. They offer a view into the soil profile and help you determine run times and how often to water. With some interpretation or with some help from baseline support staff, this data can be used to find a good lower limit. And what may be the simplest method of finding the start below limit is site observations combined with your water management experience. Walk out into your landscape and observe. Is the plant material stressed or is the turf off color? Your experience says that those are signs that it's time to water. Once your observations say that your landscape needs water, review the current moisture for the sensor and use that number as a starting point. Since the data from baseline soil moisture sensors is repeatable, it'll look the same next time that moisture reading comes up. Because I'm familiar with the site, I'll set my start below limit to 22.5%, but you'll need to find what works for your soil type on your site. Keep in mind that all soils are different and there are variations across the same site. Monitor your property closely to see if you need to adjust that start below threshold. Now that I have primary and link zones, a sensor assigned, a watering strategy, and a start below limit, I can save my work since I'm finished in schedules. Let's review what's happening with this example program. Zone 17 has a sensor installed in it, so it's set to primary and it will influence all the other link zones. Some of the link zones are adjusted for microclimates with the tracking ratio. The current moisture content is 21.3%, and the start below limit is now set to 22.5%. Tonight at 1 a.m., when the time condition is met, the program will start if the moisture is still below the 22.5 start below limit. If it rains before 1 a.m. and there's enough to raise the moisture to, say, 23%, the program will be skipped until the next start day and time. Here are a few best practices when using soil moisture sensors. Don't share the soil moisture sensor across different programs. It could skip watering on one program even though the other program still needs watering. Make sure your run times are long enough so they apply 1/2 to 3/4 inch of water each time they run. The cycle and soak features allow time for the water to soak in and reach the sensor. It's especially helpful in heavy soils where runoff might happen. Allow as many program start days as practical. A program with just one start day that skips a day has to wait another 7 days before its water opportunity comes up again. Offering multiple start opportunities can lessen the impact of a skipped water day while still conserving water.